Edli nihue verchanfa sa angker stiprabe. Proiksan, angay, ele ma samrab. Eay fa kiesaying, odiech fa, eimaj kamyake kinaip. Elais changwa yud dahesyeng gela, ueng fang naklokwen. The village that disappeared at midnight. In 1998, an American photographer named Ethan Miller traveled to a small village in Southeast Asia. He was not there for a vacation. He was looking for his best friend. His friend's name was Daniel. Daniel was a photographer. He'd been working on a documentary about strange villages in Asia. Then, one day, Daniel disappeared. Before he disappeared, he sent Ethan several photographs. At first, the photographs looked normal. There were old wooden houses, a small river, a dark forest, and people living in the village. But there was something strange. Nobody in the photographs was smiling. On the back of one photograph, Daniel had written a short message. "Do not stay here after midnight." Ethan thought it was a joke. He was wrong. Ethan finally arrived at the village. The village was called Ban Na Kam. As soon as he walked into the village, everyone stopped. The villagers stared at him. An old woman quickly closed her window. A mother pulled her children inside. Nobody wanted to speak to him. Then an old man slowly walked toward Ethan. The old man looked frightened. "You're looking for Daniel," he said. Ethan was shocked. "You know him?" The old man looked around. Then he whispered, "He came here. Where is he now?" The old man did not answer. Instead, he said something that made Ethan uncomfortable. "If you want to leave this place alive, do not look for him." That night, Ethan stayed at the old man's house. Before going to sleep, the old man gave him one final warning. After midnight, if you hear someone calling your name, do not open the door. Ethan smiled. He thought the old man was simply superstitious. At 11:47 p.m., everything was quiet. At 11:58 p.m., the dogs in the village suddenly began barking. Then, the clock reached midnight. 12 a.m. Everything stopped. The dogs stopped barking. The insects stopped making noise. Even the wind disappeared. The village became completely silent. Ethan opened his eyes. Then he heard a voice outside. "Ethan!" He froze. The voice came again. "Ethan!" It was the voice of Daniel, his missing friend. Ethan slowly sat up. He walked toward the door. He reached for the handle, but before he could touch it, the old man grabbed his arm. "Don't!" Ethan looked at him. The old man's face was white with fear. "That is not Daniel." Suddenly, the voice outside changed. "Ethan!" This time, it was the voice of his mother. "Son, please open the door." Ethan stopped breathing. His mother had been dead for almost 10 years. The voice came again. "Son, I'm cold. Please open the door." The old man covered Ethan's mouth. "Do not answer." Then the voice stopped. For almost 1 minute. Nothing happened. Then they heard footsteps. Slow footsteps. Something was walking around the house. Step. 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 The footsteps stopped beside the window. Then came 3 knocks. Knock. 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 Ethan did not move. The old man did not move. After a few seconds, the footsteps had disappeared. When the sun finally came up, the old man opened the door. Ethan looked outside. There were wet footprints everywhere. But something was wrong. The footprints did not lead into the house. They led out of the house. The old man looked at them. Then he whispered, "Something was already inside." Ethan demanded an explanation. Finally, the old man told him the truth many years ago. People in the village began disappearing. Every night after midnight, someone would hear a voice calling their name. Sometimes it sounded like their mother, sometimes their father, sometimes their husband or wife. Sometimes it sounded like someone who was already dead. The people who opened their doors never came back. Their bodies were never found. There were no footprints, no blood, no evidence. And after a few days, people stopped remembering them. It was as if they had never existed. The villagers believed that something lived deep inside the forest. Something that could copy human voices. Something that could learn your memories. Something that wanted only one thing: for you to open the door. Ethan asked the old man, "What happens if someone opens the door?" The old man looked at him. "You will see someone you love." And then the old man remained silent. "Then that person will take you." Ethan knew he had to find Daniel. That afternoon, he went into the forest. After walking for almost an hour, he found an old wooden cabin. The door was half open. Inside, there were hundreds of photographs. Photographs of the village. Photographs of the villagers. Photog